What is up, guys? Zach Ginn here, just making sure we're live. We are going to be talking about contracts today, so I'm pretty excited. I'm pulling up my contract right now kind of to show you where I'm at. But in today's video, I'm going to break down exactly everything you need to know about contracts. And I'm just going to say this straight up. I am not the contract expert. I am not a lawyer. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a real estate guru. I'm not a realtor. I'm a real estate wholesaler. So that being said, you've heard my little disclosure there. Before I get into actual contracts, I am none of those fancy schmancy things. So if you know that, we can go forward. Okay. So I'm not a lawyer, financial advisor, or like expert when it comes to any of this stuff, but I know how to do wholesaling real estate deals. I run a 7-figure wholesaling operation, net profit, and I know exactly how to do wholesaling real estate. So from a wholesaling real estate perspective, I can give you the best knowledge I can on contracts. And I have lawyers. They actually write contracts, which I give for free. So in today's video, I'm going to break down the 2 types of contracts you need for wholesaling real estate. And then I'm going to break down exactly how you get my free contract, my free real estate wholesaling contract, and my free assignment of contract. We're going to break down all of that today for wholesaling real estate. But of course, I do this all for free. I'm not a guru. So got to do me a favor though, because we got gurus going live as we speak right now, trying to sell courses for dispositions, acquisitions, marketing. And then they got people go live all day, every day here for wholesaling real estate. I got gurus doing long lives, short lives, whatever. And you got to do me a favor. To make a guru cry today, just do me a favor. Just smash that like button. It just takes 1 like to make a guru cry. It is one of the most joyous things ever to like this video and make these gurus cry, because every time we get closer, these gurus they're crying their eyes out. They're buying tissues by the boatload because of the value that I'm trying to give for you guys. So that being said, let's break it down. And pretty excited. We got everyone in the house today. We got Nick, we got Jonathan, Eduardo, Alex, Sam. Oh my gosh, what is up, guys? How are you? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. So let's get it going, guys. Let's get it pumped up. Let's get the intro in. Let's get jazzed up today for contracts. Guys, it's wholesaling time. It's time to get up. Let's go.
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch. Go. Get up, again, they got go. Time to wake up, bitch. Get up. Get up. Get up.
All right, guys. We got a little intro there. Got to get us jacked up today for wholesaling real estate, guys. It is time to change your life for wholesaling real estate. I am passionate about it. Let's get it. We got the goat in the house. Let's get it. Pumping up, guys. I'm excited, guys. Let's see. John says, "Is this guy a guru because he has no class?" LOL. Oh my gosh, what is up, guys? So let's break it down. Let's break down contracts, see what we got. So I'm going to give you a quick link, and this link hopefully is going to help people out here today. We got some people. Let's see. All right. So here's the link, guys. Just everyone on YouTube can kind of see this right here. But basically, if you go to www.flipwithrick.com/free wholesaling contract, I'm only going to give it in this video because I tell everyone, hey, you want my contract? All you got to do, just where's the stupid link? Go to freewholesaling.com. Everything about wholesaling real estate is in freewholesaling.com. But for my people that just refuse to go to freewholesaling.com, I guess I don't know. But all you got to do is we got the Twitch link on here because I'm Zach Ginn on Twitch now. So everyone has demanded I'm on Twitch. So I'm on Twitch now, which is just great. So www.flipwithrick.com/free wholesaling contract. What's going to happen here is, let me just break down how to get that contract so I can explain it, because I think it makes it a lot easier. So that's the link to get on it for everyone who wants to follow me, because I'm going to break down that contract exactly today. So a lot of people just go to that link really quick while I'm talking, get it downloaded so you exactly like know what I'm talking about and you can follow along with me. Cool part about this is live. I'm not a guru. It is currently 5:10. Let me do a little thing. Yeah, you guys see it's 5:10. It's a live video. So everyone knows I'm the greatest wholesaler on earth. No one can beat me. I'm the biggest expert on everything. And, you know, I'm a legal scholar. I'm a wholesaling scholar, and I'm the best person ever. But unfortunately, I like to keep things very simple. So when you see when I talk about contracts, I keep it very simple because I am not an expert. I have one business law book in my little bookshelf here, and this is from UF because I had to buy a business law book. It's the only law book I've ever read in my entire life. Got to be in that class. That was actually pretty impressive. But I'm not like a business person, like business law person. So I do not know laws like as an expert. So I keep my contracts very simple. And I have lawyers look it over. In most states, this contract's going to be good. But you guys got to do me a favor. If you are in a state that is different, I want you to look it over. And no, this doesn't mean you have to go to the contract that I have for you, and you have to go out there and pay a lawyer $5,000, put a retainer up, and pay them $30 an hour to go through a contract. Most title companies will look it over for free, and they have an attorney on hand. Let me say that again. Most title companies have attorneys on hand, and a lot of them know their law stuff very well. Let's say I'm in Utah, okay? What I'm going to do is download this contract, edit it to the way that I might prefer, bring that to my Utah title company, and ask them, is this an acceptable contract if I was going to do wholesaling real estate or just a general purchase and sale for the state? An advisor of mine gave me this contract, and that's what they use in Florida. And they will give you the answer there. I'm going to repeat this one more time, because some of you guys are going out there and pay a lawyer $1,000. And here's the thing about lawyers. If you give them anything, they're going to adjust it to what they like, and then they just want to charge you. So let's say, for example, I go to a lawyer and I give them that contract I just downloaded. There's a 99.99% chance they're going to look at it and they're going to say, well, if I go and get this contract and say, you know, this contract's fine, it's good, and they're like, here's $500, you're going to get mad. But what most lawyers do is, I don't get the whole law profession mad at me, but this is the truth. They're going to go here and say, you know, I'd like to change this one line to and or versus and you know, purchase. I would change it to purchase of, for it's more legal in the state. Here's my $500, and they'll justify because they made changes to the contract. Little dirty lawyer trick. Not all lawyers are experts for everything, but that is a little dirty trick they do. If you give them a contract, they're going to try to adjust it. Your title company is just going to be yes or no, and they're not going to try to take money from you. So that's a big tip I can guys just give you right now. Please do me a favor and make sure your title company is okay in your state. There's some interesting states on there that contracts are a little weird on it, but we can break it down. But so everyone knows, here's my quick disclaimer. I'm not a lawyer. My lawyer makes me say this, that I'm not a lawyer, and I am proudly not a realtor. I am proudly not a financial advisor. I'm a proud wholesaler in wholesaling real estate. So let's break it down. So there's two contracts that we have to talk about today, and that is a purchase and sale agreement and then an assignment of contract. An assignment of contract is actually its own separate contract. So purchase and sale, that's what we deal with our motivated sellers. And then assignment of contract is what we do from me to the actual cash buyer. And guys, please do me a favor. This is something I have to ask. If you have any questions or concerns with what I'm saying, or like just any general questions, nothing's like clicking for you, please comment it below. This is live. I'll see it and answer it for you. I guarantee it. Okay. That's my guarantee for you guys. So you guys know that those are the two ones. Now, again, in wholesaling real estate, the process of it really quickly is I meet with someone who's looking to sell their property. I put in a legally binding agreement with them that I'm going to purchase their property. Usually, I'm going to use a purchase and sale agreement. I agree to purchase the property. With that agreement, there's some stuff in there where we'll break down all the lingo on it today, but I agree to buy it for a certain price, and that's really watered down what it is. And there's terms on there, obviously. And then for 150, we shake hands, seller signs, I sign as the buyer. And then from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a cash buyer to pay a premium on top of that. Let's say I'm trying to sell it for $170,000. That means we'd make 170 minus 150. That's $20,000 in profits. So what's going to happen is I'm going to assign the contract, which basically assignment of contract or assigning a contract. I'm not no legal mind scholar, but it's basically selling the contract. It just, in my opinion, that's just selling a contract. So the legal people will say no, but I'm kind of right on it. You're basically selling the contract. So assignment of contract is you're selling the contract. So you're selling the contract for the difference, which is probably 20 grand in this case. And that means on the assignment of contract, it's basically stating that I'm going to make $20,000 on this wholesaling real estate deal, and I'm going to get $20,000 and the seller's going to get the 150. That's basically what it is. Again, in wholesaling real estate, I have to specify this. Oh my gosh, like we are in the, I want to say this 30 million times, but we are in the business of selling contracts, not houses. And I don't know how many times I have to say this. And for everyone new, I'm sorry if I repeat it so many times, or people that have watched me for a while, but you're in the business of selling contracts, not houses. You are not selling a house. You are selling your equitable interest in the property. Okay? You're not selling the house. You do not own the house. If you want to sell on behalf of someone of a natural property, you have to get licensed, become a realtor, and get 3% of the house. You want the entire thing. So we are selling the contract, not the house. Okay? We're flipping paper, guys. Okay? We're not making something. Okay? I'm not going out there building a house and making renovations. You work with your head, not your back. Most important thing you got to understand, that is one of the biggest things that'll change your life, is when you learn how to make money with your head, not your back, like doing manual labor. So remember, these contracts are legally binding. So there is legal weight to these contracts that you do sign. And that means you can't take them lightly. Okay? You cannot just dilly-dally with a contract and just sign it willy-nilly. You got to understand what's in it. And that's really what I wanted to break down today, is really break down what are in these contracts and exactly what we need to start doing for it. So it's legally binding. And let me go actually pull up the link. So let's share my screen. All right. I just got emailed to me. So let me check my email. And we'll go back here. All right, let's go to my email and pop it up. So all I really ask on freewholesaling.com, let's see where it's at. Get it all. You got to check your spam folders, and we're going to give that a second. And what we're just going to do is live. So we just submitted that. So it should go in our inbox soon. Okay. So we're going to go download this. Scanning, just be safe. Not scanning these. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm downloading the contract. So all you really got to do is just go to freewholesaling.com. You get this link, or if you want to do it now, I'll let you guys do it. So all you got to do is go to www.flipwithrick.com/free contract. So it's right here. And what you're going to see here is, let's share my screen. What's going to pop up here is basically this little site. And from this site from here, what we're going to do is we are literally all you gotta do is put your email in, and then what's going to do is it's going to automatically send you an email of the thing. So I can't sit behind and send 5,000 emails. So I kind of made a little macro on here where all you really got to do is put your email in, and then what it's going to do is going to spit back to you the contract. And let me pull it. So it's going to give you a Word document. And let's pop it up here. So the Word document, actually, we'll do it in Google. We'll make it easier for y'all. So we'll go to Google Docs right here and try to open it for you. That might be easier. File, open, recent, upload. We'll upload this. So I'm trying to make it all easy for everyone who doesn't really have money for Google Word, because I think Google Docs, whatever the little thing they call it. Let me share my screen and let me just kind of show you what's going on with the contract. So let me know if you guys can see it. Let me try to make it a lot bigger here. So we'll just put it at 200. I don't want to make it too big for you, but I really want to break down. So there's a big warning I want to give with these contracts that I do have for you. Is I have this big warning in yellow. Guys, I want to, okay, if you guys can see this right. And if it's too big or it's too small, because I can have it kind of like this if you want to. You just let me know which one. But this is my warning. I want to really break it down. So in writing here, it says this document is for example purposes only. Always seek the advice of a real estate attorney in the state where you are performing transactions prior to utilizing any part of the wording from the example document. Why do I say this? I don't know. Possibly a lawyer told me to do this. So y'all don't try to sue me, or a guru doesn't try to sue me. So this is an example only. So this contract's an example contract, okay? So basically what we're going to do here is we're going to break it down. So what you can do for an example is you can change here. Let's say for your example is you can change, proration. You can change whatever you really want. I mean, it's really up to you. So you can even just do this. And then boom, you modified it. So do whatever you guys want with it. This is an example document. So that being said, you can take the example document and theoretically you can use it and get a contract today and get a wholesaling deal done. So theoretically, of course. So let's break down the contract. So basically, let's go to the top here and try to explain this. So this is a purchase and sale agreement. And when you actually get the email to you, it's going to be in a Word document. You can just use Google Docs and open it. But it's going to have two. You're going to have an assignment of contract and then a purchase and sale agreement. So both of them are going to be in there. This is the one that I use on a daily basis. We actually got another contract done today. Should be a pretty good deal. So I'm pretty excited about that one. So we use this one today to get a deal. So it's working. So the purchase and sale agreement, there's a lot of stuff on here I really want to break down. So basically, let's say I'm dealing with a motivated seller. So we got the purchase and sale agreement right here. And the agreement is made on this, what are we at? The sixth day of, put the date, October 2021. Between seller Sally and Johnny Smith, or Sally and Sue Smith. Again, if you're going to write it, I would just do it like this. This is how I do it. Sally and John Smith. And what I'm going to do here is just bold it. You can also do like a bunch of you can do underscores on it, but I just do it like that. Buyers. I'm just going to do in home buyers. We'll see that. I mean, I don't have a company called Ginn Home Buyers, but that's just an example one. I think it's a stupid name for it, but Ginn Home Buyers. And then we can do the 6th day here. Let's fill it out. 6th day of October. One. And I'm just doing this for you guys live. Again, it might seem very elementary to some of you more advanced people, but I think it's going to help a lot of the newer people out. And again, I appreciate y'all in the comments right here. Networking, guys, it's awesome to network. I'm a huge fan of it, so I appreciate you guys networking here. Again, at freewholesaling.com, I have more videos on this. So we put the street address here. You basically put the street address. Let's say we got 123 Main Avenue. Let's see, 123 Main Avenue. I like bolding it. It just makes it easier, more clear for the seller. And if you have an elderly seller, you can actually make the font bigger. That might help too. Oh, Port St. Lucie, Florida, 34952. All right. And then just bold that. And then the legal description. So this is a pretty important one. So let me actually show you how I'm doing like legal descriptions. So let me go to the St. Lucie County Property Appraiser. So I do most of my wholesaling deals in Port St. Lucie, Florida. I'm not shy of saying it. That's exactly what I do. So let me break down. Should I do an old deal or not? Let's. Should I? Nah. I'll just put in a random one. So what's the first one that pops up? Let's just do this one. So let's see if you guys can see the recorded card on here. Share my screen. So I'm on the St. Lucie County Property Appraiser. And then what you're gonna see here is this is basically just a random file. I don't own this house. I have no connection to it. But if you guys see right here, I'm at the property appraiser. There's this funky little thing called the legal description. And what we're going to do is we're going to copy this legal description. This is what the actual legal address of the property is. You know, it's 2.3437 all of S sec less of description property from southwest corner of SEC. What is it? Run north along. Oh my gosh. 100 feet. This is the whatever. There's a random one. It has a random address. They kind of city has their address, but this is what the legal description would be. So you see no address on it. That's what kind of interesting to pull it up. But this is the legal description. So it does have a legal description. I go to sales here and kind of pull it all up, and I can pull up deeds, permits, values, everything from there. And no buildings really on there. So it's basically just land, right? So pretty interesting piece of property. We got 540 acres, but that's what it looks like. So kind of random, but that is the legal description of the property. So most property appraisers have them. If you don't, ask the property appraiser for it. All you got to do, go back here to the contract. And what we're going to do here is paste it. So legal description, basically the legal name of the property, and most binding contracts need that just so there's no issue. Because if you accidentally do the wrong address and you have the right legal description, you should be fine. Or you just, leave out a zip code or something. Basically from here, this is where you can start editing what you want. And I really want to break this down a little because there's a lot of fighting when it comes to a lot of wholesalers talking about deposits and what's the right amount to deposit and should you even do a deposit at all. And I'm in the boat that you need to put a deposit on your properties. And everyone fights me on it, but it is true that if someone tries to steal your wholesaling real estate deal, having a contract is going to help you so much more with an earnest money deposit than not. And it could be as little as $100. And I recommend for most wholesalers, $100 is probably the perfect amount for just an earnest money deposit. Some do more, some do less. But $100 is probably going to be the perfect one to do. And you don't have to put a deposit on your contracts. It's not legal. But if you go, God forbid, go to court, someone tries to steal your deal, a wholesaler tries to steal your deal, the seller tries to back out. Any of those situations, if you have a legitimate earnest money deposit recorded with a title company and everything, it's going to help you so much more. No, legally, you still have a right to the property, but a judge can throw it out if they have a bad day. Now, if you have the deposit already there, it's just going to go so much smoother. And I'm in Port St. Lucie, Florida. I live in Florida. It's a sunny place for shady people. And there's so many wholesalers that try to steal my deals. I have 2 deals right now. I think I already explained one where the seller's demanding a backup contract. No, the whole other wholesaler has a backup contract written with my seller because I'm probably gonna make like 70 on the deal. It's a really good deal. And they're trying to steal the deal from me. It is insane that these wholesalers trying to steal deals. I've had another wholesaler try to steal like a $75,000 deal from me once, and they had affidavits of equitable interest. They actually put an affidavit before my affidavit, and it screwed me up because I couldn't even close on the property. They had the seller shut out me. They didn't want to talk to me. They said, "Oh, he's a 20-year-old kid. He's not going to close in your house." Close on it, but it was an insane thing. But what saved my butt on this is I had $100 earnest money deposit. And I legally could have shown to a lawyer, if not to a judge, if I went to court. The guy figured, he saw I actually had my earnest money deposit down. He didn't know I was legit. And he was just some older guy he saw a 20-year-old. He's like, oh, I can take advantage of him. Still a $70,000 deal. But I proved basically with my lawyer to the guy that I had earnest money. He's like, oh shit, and then his lawyer's like, you're going to lose this if he goes to court. And I was going to sue that guy for everything. And I was making a ton of money at wholesaling still at that time, even more now. But the point is, I showed and could prove to that guy's lawyer that I had $100 earnest money deposit already in escrow before the guy even did his contract. Because there's 2 contracts in that situation. I had a contract and he had a contract. My contract was for like 120. His contract was like 130. And he told the seller, don't deal with the 20-year-old. I'll give you 10,000 more. Well, cool. I had $100 earnest money deposit actually in escrow a day before he put it under contract. Which means if I went to court, I would have won the case. And he knew that, and he gave up, and I didn't have the deal stolen from me. So moral of the story, I didn't even have an affidavit of equitable interest even recorded. But I had that earnest money deposit, which saved my butt. So it's insane because it's insane. But the one thing I could tell you is the earnest money deposit is going to save your butt. Now, if you don't have the $100, go find $100. I don't think it's that difficult to do, but I came up with $300. But let's say you don't want to do an earnest money deposit. All you really got to do is, oops. I really got, what am I? Hold up. All right. All you really got to do is delete this if you really want to. When you do deposits, I don't recommend this, but I'm still going to show you because I know some people are just not going to do it. Boom, you're good like that, okay? Now, I do deposits, okay? And this is how I kind of explain it to my sellers. Oops, let's go with that one. All right, make sure we're all good here. So we're going to go forward with this one, and I can bold this one. So let's bold this to the legal description. That bold, black, whatever. Okay, so $100 deposit. Okay. You guys, you can get fancy with this. You can actually underline this if you want to. If you want to make it like, we'll make it all pretty for you guys so it looks good. And guys, I'm telling you, if you're going on an appointment, this is a huge tip I give to you. $. Now you can really get technical and just do like $0.00. Oops. But I just do $100. So why am I filling this out for you? So you can just have a blank contract and just meet with your seller, but this is a huge tip alert. Like this is gem alert right here. Not a gem alert, but this has saved my butt on so many occasions. When a seller has to think, or they have time just to think when you're writing the contract, if they even want to go forward with it, or it seems overwhelming, you might, for some people, it doesn't seem like you got your stuff together, but you'll probably get an extra 1 to 2 deals per year if you're just doing a consistent amount of wholesaling. If you just pre-write like I'm doing right now, let's say I'm about to go to 123 Main Street. If you just literally so obviously you would, if you're editing it, you get rid of that, but I'm going to keep it on here. But if you just pre-do this and you print it out and go to the contract and go to the actual deal, the appointment, you oh my gosh, you will get extra deals doing this. And all you got to do is pre-print it, pre-fill it out online, print it out, and go with everything filled out. Even if you don't think it's a good deal, I mean, whatever, you spend the money on the printer. But you'll get an extra deal or two if it's all filled out really easy. You don't have to fumble trying to write everything down. Your handwriting's terrible. It's all printed out really easy. All the seller has to do is you give them a pen, get a paper, and a lot of sellers just like, done. So it just makes it so much easier. So I can tell you right now, that is a huge one I would definitely be recommending. So let's see. And then, so basically, let's pop this up again. So here we got here. So cash due cash due to seller at closing. So basically, it'd be minus that. So what was the total price? Let's just make it 100. So total price 100. Okay. You can modify this. I know not a lot of people like cash due to seller at closing. You can really do whatever you want. Cash due. You can even put cash due buyer at closing. I mean, whatever one strikes a fancy, and you get really cool with the little just making sure everything's lined up or anything. But you can really affect it any way you want. That's one thing Rick likes to do. The other one, I like to do this one. I don't know why. It's not really going to change anything, but so basically you explain to the seller, hey, we have a $100 earnest money deposit. That's kind of just a formality. That means at closing, technically the buyer, but I'll owe $99,900 at closing. What they're going to do is I'm going to give that to the title company. They're going to give that to you, and then they're going to give you the $100 earnest money. So in total, it's $100,000. That's how I explain it. Earnest money, this is basically just kind of general stuff. Nothing really too fancy when it comes to this, but what you're going to see here is basically earnest money to be deposited with a licensed title company or attorney within 48 hours of acceptance and ratification of offer. Prorations and pound security deposits, loan interest, property taxes, insurance, and rent shall be prorated as of the date of closing. All security deposits shall be transferred to buyer at closing. All impound accounts for taxes and insurance are included in the purchase and shall be transferred to buyer closing. Any shortage in these accounts shall be charged to seller at closing. What you really got to know about that is basically the seller in this contract is going to be paying for their taxes. And I think that's pretty important to explain, but they're going to be paying taxes on it. So let's say they owed $5,000 for taxes for the year, and we are closing November 1st. That means they had 10 months. So 5,000 divided by 12 times 10. They'll owe $4,166.67. And then they'll give that to the buyer, and then the buyer will pay the full 5,000 for it. Next here is closing date and transfer of title. This transaction shall close on or before, and this is where I really like it. So I get asked, Zach, when are we going to close? When's the date that I can actually close on the property? And this is really cool because I really basically just tell the seller, hey, we can agree. I mean, unfortunately, life happens. And let's say you're in the hospital for a month or something. We have to postpone the closing. Let's agree just on or before the end of the year that I'm going to buy it. So let's say, for example, Mr. Seller, that you're ready to close in a month or two. We'll go close. But let's say you need more time to move out and find a place. I know Sally Sue's you got to find a good school for her. What we need to do is do on or before a certain date. And that's basically what helps the most on it. So we do on or before, and let's say we do whatever. We'll just put 31st. 21. Closing will be held at whatever title company you got. So where's my mouse? So Closing be held at, I don't know, Nashville title, right? I'll bold these things really quick. On or before December 31st, 2021, closing be held at Nashville Title Company, blah, blah, blah. Basically stating there, seller, oops, unable to load file. Okay, that's kind of weird. Hopefully that's working. That's kind of weird. Okay, so closing be held at Nashville Title, and seller agrees to transfer marketable title free and clear of all encumbrances except those listed and pay and required state taxes or stamps required to record deed. Oops. And let's make it a little smaller. Required to record deed and mortgage. Seller agrees to furnish title insurance in the amount of the purchase price, showing no encumbrances or exceptions other than previously noted. Basically, they got to pay doc stamps. Damage to property. Seller shall maintain property in its current condition and keep it insured against all loss until closing. In the event of destruction covered by insurance, buyer may elect to close and collect the insurance proceeds. If you could get rid of this if someone doesn't have insurance, or there might be a weird issue with the property that it's like just cracking at the seams, but you can do your own thing with it. Let's see here. Default. If buyer defaults under this contract, any and all monies deposited by the buyer shall be retained by seller as full liquidated damages. If seller defaults, buyer may pursue all remedies allowed by law, and seller agrees to be responsible for all costs incurred by a buyer as a result of a seller's default. Basically, that's stating if outside the inspection period, if you don't go forward and you're not out, basically you're going to lose your deposit, and that's why we don't do $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 deposits. We're basically going to be doing about $100, and you can't really lose much on $100. But this is why we come to the inspection period, and we'll break that down on line number 9. Number 6 here is successors and assignees. The terms and conditions of this contract shall bind all successors, heirs, administrators, trustees, executors, and assignees of the respective parties. The reason why I kind of do it this way is, unfortunately, some sellers, they might pass away. And if they pass away while we have it on contract, that's another question I get all the time is, Zach, what if, unfortunately, if a seller passes away when I have a property under contract, what's the situation? Well, some contracts don't state that, and it gets very, very iffy. Sometimes they can throw it out. So that's why I like on this line right here, basically saying that shall bind all successors, heirs, and administrators. So if this person passes away, they're still binded to the contract, which is great, right? I mean, for us, so we don't lose the wholesaling real estate deal. That's why I like that line there. Number 7 here is access. Seller agrees that buyers may advertise property and have access during reasonable hours to show the property to others. This is really important. Okay. This is not sneaky, but it's really, really, really important for wholesaling real estate. No one has this in their contracts because, to be frank with you, them gurus, they don't know wholesaling. They don't wholesale. They actually don't run real wholesaling real estate businesses. Oh, but my guy says he does 5 million. He doesn't do 5 million. Most of these gurus are full of poop. The ones that look all fancy, drive sports cars, have the cool car. They're making money. They're making, for every $10 they make $9 selling the course, $1 from wholesaling. Like, they know what they're doing, and you can see it in their contracts. So basically, this lets us advertise the property. Technically, that lets us put it on Craigslist, Facebook. It lets us just advertise it like crazy. And this is really important in states where wholesaling might be in a gray area, where the seller agreed that we can advertise the property. So you're not advertising equitable interest, maybe in like Illinois or something like that, or Oklahoma. This is a gray area. Some people in Oklahoma can actually wholesale with this if the seller agrees that you're allowed to advertise it, because you're not advertising the equitable interest. You're actually just advertising the property, and you got permission from the seller to do it. This is illegal. I'm not a lawyer. This is where this is where the legal minds don't get in it. But this contract, it possibly, I'm not going to be a lawyer here, but you could technically wholesale in the legal states, but I'm not going to say it. But that line's very important, and it could possibly help you out. Now, I'm not saying it's going to 100% allow you to do everything legal in your state, but also lets us basically at all access during reasonable hours. We can bring as many buyers through, or contractors or partners. Number 8 here. This is just so everyone's like, I didn't know you were going to sign the contract. I didn't agree to that. Well, number 8 here, assignable. This contract is assignable by the buyer. Tell the seller if they ever give me any flack for that one. Like, oh, what do you mean assignable? What's that? Basically, there's a lot of situations we can have with the house. I work with multiple partners, so either I might just assign this contract to them and they'll buy it, or I'll just assign it from my corporation, maybe into a trust, or possibly from my name into a trust, or from my corporation or the trust into my own personal name. I don't know what we're going to do with the property. If we do it as a rental, we'll probably do it like that. If we flip it, we're going to maybe assign it to a flipping company, or maybe I'll just give it to my partner who's going to do a lot of the work, and maybe possibly that they could be working with me on their house. And you basically go from there and try to explain it. And that helps a lot. Next, here's inspection period. Basically, what is an inspection period? Inspection period, it's basically the time where a buyer can examine a house and make a decision to move forward or not with the purchase of the home. Basically, this is our out clause in wholesaling real estate. And this allows us really to get out of the contract if we want to. And this is like, oh, Zach, what if I can't buy a buyer in time, or I have that property too high and I can't do anything with it? Cool part about this is our out clause. Basically, if you're 18, you can't buy the house. You can, within the inspection period, that's your time to examine and make a decision on the property. And basically, the way we write the contract is we can get out of it if, for whatever reason, within the amount of days that we put. That's why inspection period is very important. You could do 30 days, you could do 40 days. I recommend 45 days. I think that's reasonable for it, but there's so many ways you can do it. But basically, I'll write here 45 days. And we'll bold this one and underline it. Basically, a buyer shall have 45 days from effective date within which to have such inspections of the property performed as a buyer shall desire, and utility service shall be made available by the seller during the inspection period. Buyer shall be responsible for prompt payment as such inspections and repair of damage and restoration of the property resulting from such inspections. And if buyer determines, if buyer's sole discretion makes it very, very broad. We can get out of it for any really reason. Sole discretion that the condition of the property is not acceptable to buyer. If it's a trashed house, or if it's a really nice house, still might not be acceptable. The walls are not just gold enough. There's not enough gold in the house on the ceilings. That's acceptable. Buyer may cancel this contract by delivering written notice of such election to seller prior to the expiration of the inspection period. So within 45, basically that means within 45 days here, I have to put in writing if I'm going to get out of it, or if I'm staying, I'm just not going to give a writing. That's basically what that line is. And of course, you want to basically look at it. I ever get flack on inspection period. Oh, why is it 45 days? Why don't you make it 1 day? I say, well, Mr. Seller, do you control the weather? And they're like, no, I don't. Okay, so let's say, God forbid, a lightning hits the house, and the back wall, when no one's there, but let's say the roof catches on fire, and there's small electrical fires, and the house smells really bad, and there's raccoons that go in the house and squirrels because there's holes in the wall, and the thing went on fire, and it's a complete mess. And then I try to buy the house for the same price we agreed to. I'm going to lose a lot of money. So we make the inspection period basically the day before the closing because I don't control the weather. I've never claimed to. A tornado can go by the house and just rip it up. If I don't have that, basically I didn't do my inspection of the day of the closing, and I'd have to legally buy a house that literally is not there anymore for an insane price, and you get your insurance money. It's a lose-lose for me. And they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And you go. So that's how I really explained it, because you don't want to buy a house that has like tornado damage, right? So that's basically how we explain that from there. Next here is additional terms and conditions. You can write, oh, seller agrees to keep, seller agrees, buyer agrees. No, technically, if you do a washer dryer, buyer agrees to let seller take washer dryer, whatever. You could just put, it doesn't have to get legally, you just, not like legal jargon, you just put whatever they agree to. Seller agrees to net 145. Some I get pressed before where I got to write something like buyer agrees to pay all closing costs on property. And then you basically put here, you got seller and buyer. We have 2 lines for this because sellers, if we're dealing with a married couple, Sally Sue would sign here. So Sally Sue sign here, and then Johnny Smith Sue or whatever sign there. And then buyer, if there's only one buyer, should be only one buyer. You just kind of leave it like that. And then that looks pretty good, right? And then you might need to make the font a little smaller just to bring it up. And you go from there. So the next here is the assignment of contract. So this is where it gets really funny. So let's break down just really quick. So what if we get the proper, so let's say we get the purchase and sale agreement under contract, okay? So let's say we get this, where is it? Right here. So let's say we get this under contract. So what do I do after I get it? So we have our earnest money deposit we got to get done for the house. So what I'm going to do from there is I'm actually going to get my $100, go to the title company, show them the contract I got under contract, give that to them to have so they have the original copy, give them a $100 earnest money deposit, and then from there, I'm legally binded there. Perfect. They're going to start running the title. And then from there, now I look for a cash buyer because you want everything to be lined up. So if a seller tries to screw you out of the deal, or if a cash buyer tries to screw you out of the deal, or they try to steal your deal from you, you're safe. Yeah, I don't know how people go live without drinking water. I don't understand it. But that's what we do. And now we got to sell the contract for a profit, okay? We got to sell the contract for a profit. So let's break it down right here. All right. So basically from there, you got to understand this, that when we're signing the contract, we're selling it. Okay. Like we're selling it. So of course we're going to find a cash buyer. So we find cash buyer. Okay, cool. So now we have our assignment of contract. So, okay. Also, why is this one thing? So if I just delete this line here, oh my gosh, doing this to me again. Basically it should fit, right? Yeah. Fits all nice and dandy right there. So let's go back though. I want to keep that. So the little disclosures there. So now we have the assignment of contract, and this is where it gets really fun. So the assigner and assignee, okay? Where is it? So basically the assignment of contract is when we're selling the contract. So I'm going to be the assigner and the assignee is going to be the cash buyer, okay? So the assigner is going to be me. So I'm going to put agreement is, what did I put in home buyers? This one's a little faster, and then rental holdings of Orlando Incorporated. All right, like something just general, So what I'm basically going to write here is just going to make this one bold. Underline, bold, so it looks all good, right? So A signer has entered an agreement with Sally and John Smith, whatever. So with Sally. With Sally and John Smith. So we're going to write that right here. We're going to bold that. We're going to underline that. And we're going to put the legal description. So all we got to do is just go back here and basically copy that legal description right here. All right, let's go find it. I'm also going to ask here, Zach, are you recording this? This is recorded. You're on Facebook. If you go on YouTube, it's kind of all there, but Facebook has it recorded too, I believe. So I'm just going to copy this. Another quick plug. This is all in freewholesaling.com. Legal description. We're just going to paste that really quick. And then this is basically the terms for it. So a signer assigns all rights that he acquired under the contract, basically selling the contract. A signer accepts all terms and conditions of the contract. A signee has reviewed the contract. Signee is the cash buyer. A signer is us. I'm assigning, I'm giving contract, selling it. A signee is receiving it. So a signee accepts all terms and conditions of the contract. A signee has reviewed the contract, which is attached here to Exhibit A. A signee fully understands the terms and conditions in the contract and represents to a signer that it is willing and able to close the underlying transaction. Okay. A signee will deliver to a signer a cashier's check, money or wire transfer as a deposit in the amount of, say minimum $3,000, but I like $5,000. $1,000 as initial deposit. A signee will pay a signer total fee of, let's say, $20,000. Where do I pull this? Perfect, 20 grand. All closing, the assigner will receive $20,000 of the assignment fee. Basically stating that we'll receive all the assignment fee there. Oops, where are we? So this amount includes the deposit listed in paragraph 3. This fee will be paid at closing. Will be paid at closing of the underlying transaction. The assignment fee will be added to the purchase price identified on the contract. The total amount owed by assignees as follows, and then you get into the full thing. So let's say, again, their contract's for $100,000. The assignment fee is $20,000. Minus deposit be $5,000. And total due. So quick math. Boom. So basically, 100,000 is the purchase price. Assignment fee now we're at 120. 120 minus 5 is 115 is what's due at closing by the assignee. So again, total price is 120,000. 100,000 will go to the seller, 20,000 to me. 1,000. Ready. Oops. Basically, from there, a signer must close with the underlying transaction on or before. I'll do a date before, so maybe December 25th. I'll do Christmas. Nah, we'll do the day before Christmas. At 5 p.m. Time is of the essence, and a signer will be harmed if a signee fails to timely close. A signer will select the closing agent, basically stating that we get a close what title company we're closing at. If assignee fails to close the underlying transaction by the date included in paragraph 6, assignee will forfeit its deposit, all rights to the property under the contract, and will automatically revert back to assignee, which basically means we get that $5,000. It's pretty good money, right? Basically that states here, again, it's a quick question. Is this non-refundable? Of course, it is non-refundable. Basically there, if assignee fails to close the underlying transaction, let's make this bigger for you guys. Alrighty, let's pop it up. If assignee fails to close the underlying transaction, all right. If the assignee attempts to communicate with the sellers at any form, he'll immediately terminate the agreement and forfeit the deposit for liquidated damages. So if the cash buyer tries to talk to the seller, it's going to, I mean, you might ruin the whole deal doing that. So I think it's pretty important we include that in there. Right, yeah. Assigner, right? Yeah. A signer will deliver clear title closing. If clear title cannot be given, then the assignment will be canceled and the deposit will be refunded to assignee. That's kind of just standard business practice. If there's no clear title, what's the point? So assignee will not contact the seller identified in the contract. Assignee agrees to communicate solely with the assigner. Again, I write that 2 times because I've had very greedy cash buyers try to steal deals. So it completely makes sense. And then next here on the bottom, where are we? All right. A signer may at any time before closing renegotiate the underlying purchase price in the contract with the original seller. A signer is entitled to the entire difference between the contract price and this assignment. The difference, if any, will be paid at an additional assignment fee at closing. A signer negotiation of the purchase price will not affect the total due at closing by by assignee. Again, the reason why, just make sure. Okay. Basically, what that's stating is, let's say I renegotiate this wholesaling deal. The cool part about that is we get the money on. So let's say I renegotiate to 90,000. I'll get the extra 10 and not them, because in some contracts they'll actually get that 10,000. Again, last one here is this property sold as is. A signer makes no representation of the property's condition. This includes permitting, major structure, foundation, occupancy, mold, and any other property defect. Assignee must do their own due diligence. Assignee acknowledges that they are not relying on any representation of the condition of the property by a signer, and assignee as willfully agreed to assume all risks related to the condition of the property. Basically, what that's stating is you can't go back to me if the property's all messed up, and let's say there's a fraudulent transaction. The seller, I'm not in trouble for it. They need to do their own due diligence on the house. Basically, from there, this agreement is null and void if the deposit of $5,000 is not received on date. All right. That really quick. And then you date it. A signer will be me. A signer will be them. And then boom, you print it. And that's the contract, guys. Pretty easy, right? Seems standard to me. But hey, it could be different. So let me know what you guys think. Any questions we got? I'd love to pop them up and sort of see. So let's see some questions we got. Do we do the title search before we find the buyer? No, the title company will do it for you. Hi, Zach. Should I tell the cash buyer the address of the property before you show them proof of funds, or is it better if I ask to show their proof of funds? You got to get proof of funds and qualify them before you actually go out there and get it under contract. Hands down. Very, very well explained. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate it. Let's see any other questions we got. I called the title company and they're really helpful. They answer all the questions. Awesome. Let's see here. Tila says, I found investor-friendly title companies on Facebook. Can I just send my contract over, or do I need to call and establish? I would call and establish relations first. Seller going to be okay with that long. You got to explain it the way I explained it. It should. Let's see here. Title versus attorney when closing, pros and cons. Title company is way better. Some states like New York need an attorney. That's why I say legal counsel. Just check it out. See what's working. Go to your title company and ask. All this makes sense. Thank you. That's awesome. Lance says, would the seller know that you put earnest money down, or would it just depend? They won't know. Actually, they would. You write it on the contract. So yes. See other questions we got really quick. Here's like a motivated seller who had no to very little equity, and how would I go about it, or would it be a good deal? Look up subject 2 on freewholesaling.com. We kind of explain it from there. Do we do the title? Very well explained. Thank you. I'm definitely saving this video in my folder for later. That's awesome. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. And then lastly is what time frame for a buyer to pay deposit, and does that go to title company also? So what time frame for the buyer to pay the deposit? I would say the date that you agree. So I would say within a couple days. That would be my recommendation. And then, can this contract be DocuSign? Is that what .loop is for? It might be a dump. Yes, DocuSign will do it for you. And then we got here. Eduardo says, on my contract doesn't bake in my EMD in the purchase agreement and the amount in the total purchase price. Instead, it makes my buyer give me my assignment fee and $100. Your thoughts on the structure? It's on my contract, so I don't know. I just kind of like it. I mean, it's not baked in. It's baked in, but not. But of course, I'll get my deposit back. It's kind of like what you're doing there. So that's it, guys. That is actually how to do contracts in wholesaling real estate. Hopefully, I explained it to you. Again, if you got any value out of this video, remember, please smash that like button and subscribe. I truly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much, and have a blessed day.